Today's episode is brought to you by Restaurant.com. With Restaurant.com, you can save at thousands of restaurants across the country with just a few clicks. Their dining deals range from $5 to $100, never expire, and cost you a fraction of the face value. Dinner has never been easier with Restaurant.com, used for dine-in, takeout, or delivery. Restaurant.com is offering our listeners 50% off their next purchase by going to www.restaurant.com. That's www.restaurant.com/podcast. www.restaurant.com/podcast for 50% off your next purchase. Restaurant.com, the best deal every meal. Now on to episode 83 of The Next Best Bet. Jake Higgins with Brett Levy here, as always, and our rundown's looking a little dry as it looks like MLB's slowing down with the pennant races going on, and then the NBA Finals may very well end tonight.
I know we went from every sport going on, two in the playoffs, to we might just have football and a baseball game, Higgins. So definitely slowing down a little bit, but we had tons of bets on our last episode.
Lots of bets, lots of bets. Now, I went 5-4, including my pick of the pod pick of the Cardinals -7, and I said that I thought that game could have easily been a double-digit event, and it was. The Cardinals handled the Jets like I expected they would. Some other surprising ones, though. Both my overs hit, the Texas, Oklahoma, and Virginia Tech versus UNC one, and Va Tech versus UNC scored more points than Texas, Oklahoma, even though Texas, Oklahoma had about a 2-touchdown advantage on their over-under, Brett. So is the ACC the new Big 12?
No, there's still no one playing defense in the Big 12, Higgins.
All right, but how'd you do?
I did okay. My Levy log didn't hit. Panthers Falcons. It was actually my only NFL bet that didn't hit. So probably bad look by me to say this is the one. This is the one you got to follow, and that be the one not to hit. Mississippi State was disappointing over the weekend. KJ Costello got pulled in that one, but Kansas State continues to be underrated, Higgins, and I just keep taking them with the points, and they actually keep winning outright. So maybe I'll smarten up and start taking them on the money line here.
And we're gonna give you the 4-3 record for last episode, even though one of your picks is technically from episode 81, the Houston Astros ALDS series win. You had to wait a little bit longer, but that one cashed too.
I'm glad I get to. So yeah, I'll just leave that 0-3 in the past and bring a winning record on over here. It's nice, it's better than 500. So I like that.
We're going to jump into our baseball a little bit later, but just a quick heads up, the Astros are playing the Rays as we are recording this in Game 1 of the ALCS, and the Rays are up 2-1. Now let's jump into Beginner's Boulevard though, Brett, because we're going to be talking about prop bets, and a prop bet is basically betting on something specific to happen in a game other than the spread, money line, or over-under. A lot of these are player prop bets where you expect a player is going to go over a certain threshold of yards, maybe score the first touchdown, maybe score a touchdown in general. Player props are probably the most common use in the world of prop bets.
Yeah, definitely. Pitcher strikeout totals, passing yards over under. So it's just another fun way to get some action on a game.
It really is, and we're going to have a few examples of prop bets here in the NFL. Before we talk about Monday night's game, though, Brett, we have to talk about this coronavirus shakeup of games that has caused 8 teams' schedules to be adjusted, all in the AFC.
Yeah, I think this is a problem because we've really only had one team have to postpone a game so far, and what happens if another team has to do this? What happens? We already have the Green Bay Packers have now used their bye week. What happens if something affects them and they don't have a bye week to move stuff to? So this is going to be problematic. This is not like baseball where if you really, really had to, you could play 8 games in 7 days.
Yeah, you can't really do double headers in the NFL.
No, you're not. Let's play 2 doesn't work here.
I think that at some point, if this trend with the NFL continues of more coronavirus cases creeping up, which I fully expect to happen unless the NFL and the NFL Players Association really buckle down, take this seriously, and get the players and staff on board. But I think it's going to get to a point that there may need to be forfeitures of games depending on how many players are out because like you said the Steelers have already used their bye week. Who's to say if that happens down the line what that's going to mean for them and how long can you really stretch out this season to try to give every team their full 16 games?
Yeah, it's gonna get tight down at the end of the season, Higgins. This is just not gonna be an easy solution, and there's gonna be issues, and people are gonna be upset, and it's probably gonna affect fantasy leagues. It's gonna affect gambling. So there's gonna be a lot of outcomes, but the NFL money train it keeps rolling. So I guess the owners are happy.
And then we have the case of the Patriots, Brett, who were supposed to play the Titans on Sunday. That game ended up getting bumped to Tuesday, and then on Sunday there was a positive test for the Patriots, and that game instead gets pushed to next Sunday. So the amount of reshuffling that's going on to try to make these games happen, at what point do you say enough is enough?
I know it's crazy. Like we're we're still not even sure if Cam's gonna play, right? Or Corey Davis or Adam Humphries. Like, there's so many people that we're unsure about, and it affects so many different things. But I would just recommend betting, on Sunday morning when you have the most information. It's good to maybe start handicapping some things earlier in the week if you want, but I would not place anything till everything's set and you have all the information because you could wake up Sunday morning and another positive test.
Yes, and especially with me on the West Coast, where some of those games are starting at 10, it gives you a hard window to place your bets on Sunday. So I've been placing mine on Saturday nights, but I've been waking up even and seeing a bunch of news on Sundays that has me just throwing my hands up in the air, wanting to tear my hair out in a sense.
we,
Let's get into this Monday game, though, I think.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Chargers versus the Saints. Now, Drew Brees was drafted by the Chargers. And the first line in the preview article that I read about this game was that Justin Herbert was 6 years old when Drew Brees played his final game for the Chargers for what they thought was a career ending shoulder injury. He ended up going to the Saints and he's played for 15 years and had a Hall of Fame career in New Orleans since then. Where are you sitting with this game with the hot new phenom of Justin Herbert taking that starting role versus Drew Brees, who has shown some struggles in his 19th season?
Honestly, Higgins, I'm not really sure where I feel on this game, or what I feel on this game. But Michael Thomas being suspended or whatever, being held out, I don't even know if I fully buy that. I'm sure he's not 100% healthy, so it's easy to say, hey, we're holding you out because you did something bad in practice. Like, if he was healthy and could help the team, I don't think you're holding him out.
I agree. I
That's just
agree.
my opinion, but I do like some player props on this one, Higgins. I do like some player props. We discussed props earlier on Beginners Boulevard. I'm going to be on two Justin Herbert player props in this one. Over 261 and a half passing yards and over 14 and a half rushing yards. He's proved he can move a little bit, and he's proved he can move the ball down the field, so he doesn't even really need to put it in the end zone. I just need him to move it between the 20s a bunch.
And I also have two prop bets as well. I like Alvin Kamara in this game, and he's been on my fantasy team. He's been an all-star performer for that Saints offense, especially with Michael Thomas out, both in running the ball and receiving. So I'm taking the over on both his receiving and rushing yards. If you look at how he has done so far this year, the over-under for his receiving yards is 52 and a half. He would have broken that so far in two of his three games, and one of those games he was a yard and a half shy, so he would have been really close to being 3-1 at hitting that over. And then when you're talking about rushing, the over under for rushing 71 and a half, and he would have broken that in two of his as well. So I think the line is pretty fair. It's at minus 115 right now, but I think Alvin Kamara has to have another big game due to the fact that Michael Thomas is going to be out, due to the fact that the Saints are going to be playing in Monday Night Football at home. This game was potentially going to get moved because of the hurricane. It doesn't look like that's going to need to happen. I think Alvin Kamara has to come up big here, so I'm going with his props.
All right, I like that. And do you have a feel on the game? I do not. I could see New Orleans winning this one. I could see them losing. I don't really have a good read on it.
Now, I like the Saints -7 here. I think this is going to be where Drew Brees gets a little bit more back on track and helps build. I was really hoping that Michael Thomas was going to be a part of this team, or a part of this game, but it does not look like that's going to be the case. So I'm going to stick with the Saints -7 and just hope that the New Orleans defense is able to pick up the slack and help be the difference maker in this.
Well, I could live with the New Orleans defense getting tight in the red zone, but I need them to allow Justin Herbert to cook a little bit here, Higgins. But there is a
Yes.
game on Tuesday night. We mentioned COVID affecting a lot of schedule changes. Well, the Tennessee Titans finally take the field on Tuesday night versus Buffalo Bills. The Bills are currently 3.5 point favorites on the spread. Higgins, do you have any sense of where you're going in this one?
My money would say Bills. I don't think Ryan Tannehill can compete against that Buffalo secondary. I think Josh Allen's been playing pretty well, and I think it's going to come down to whether they can stop Derrick Henry or not. Now, that is a big task. Derrick Henry can control a game all on his own. He can get 50 carries and he can run for 200 yards if he so chooses on any given night. But I think the Bills' secondary should be the difference maker in this. And if they can get one key turnover potentially, I think that might be what seals a victory for the Bills. Maybe even covers their -3.5. I'm not going to sit anywhere on this game right now. I think I'm going to wait to see how our Monday prop bets and my Saints -7 bet go, and maybe see if I take some of the winnings from that on to Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, I'm staying away from this one as a whole. I'll probably watch it because Tuesday football, what a treat. But I am staying away. I have no idea what the Titans are gonna look like. Are they gonna be rusty? Are they gonna be well rested and healthier than some teams that have played the first 4 weeks of the season? We'll see what happens. I think Derrick Henry is going to be tough to bring down. To your point, I don't think that'll change due to the COVID break or not. But I'm just staying away from this one. I really have no feel of what to expect from the Tennessee Titans.
Now, first impression on this over under at 52, it seems a little high to me. The Titans, who can run out the clock like they do, 52 seems a little high, but you never know if the Bills score quick and they force Tannehill to have to go to the air instead of giving it to Henry. It could be a shoot 'em game that goes over 52, but my gut would be saying under. And as you know, I'm not an under better.
Yeah. Are you feeling okay?
I think I'm feeling okay. Um, I think I'm feeling better than the guy that's going to be highlighted in our Moneyline Magic, Brett, because if you were watching football on Saturday night, you missed an all-time UFC knockout. Like, this is going to go down in history. Joaquin Buckley was a plus 195 underdog against Impa Kasangane in last night's UFC middleweight bout that was on Saturday night at UFC Fight Island, which is out in Abu Dhabi. Now, Buckley goes for a chest kick with his left foot, and Kasangane catches his left foot, and instead of trying to break his foot free of the grasp, Buckley pivots off of his right foot and kicks Kasangane right in the face with his right foot. It was so smooth, the connection was so pure, and you see Kasangane go lights out before he hits the mat. It was a lights out true knockout of a. It was impressive, and although we probably should be talking about football, I had to bring up this UFC fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no disrespect to Buckley, who unbelievable kick, like you said, the reverse spin kick to the face, unbelievable. But I have a feeling you chose this because the real money line magic on Sunday was against your Giants, Higgins.
I don't want to talk about it.
I
I think that was the closest that Giants team's gonna get to a win this season, and they blew it.
Hey, well, look, man, my man Joaquin Butley came through for you because you got to hide that somewhere in the rundown. You got to bury that stuff deep. So good for you, man.
The joys of jumping into the rundown first sometimes.
Oh, and when there's an all-time finish like that, I mean, that was a special move, and it was a knockout and a big underdog. We had to mention it.
Yes, we did, and I think it's time that we mention NBA Finals Game 6. Now the clock says a minute 27 left, Brett, but the Lakers are up 103 to 86, so I say we call it.
I was ready to call it at halftime. I'm really happy for some of my friends out in Los Angeles this year. That's pretty awesome. And congrats to the Lakers. 17 titles in franchise history. LeBron gets number 4, his third different franchise he's won a title with. So, some pretty good storylines.
Very impressive. I remember right after Kobe died in his helicopter crash, I put $10 on the Lakers to win the NBA season. It was only plus 275 because obviously there was a lot of line movement that followed that because of the emotional support that came from it. The Lakers ended up following through. Now they're not wearing their black Mamba jerseys that they wore in Game 5 when they were going to try to get the win for Kobe. However, this is still a very, very impressive 17th championship for the Lakers organization. Caps off to them.
Yeah, I mean, this is awesome. And LeBron and AD are headed to the locker room right now. So, pretty cool. They are actually, what are they doing? They're just hugging in the tunnel, celebrating. They're not even all the way in the locker room. So,
I'm sure they're probably having a little conversation about what Anthony Davis's offseason is going to be like.
well, that starts really soon, Higgins. I think about 5 days away from free agency, and that's going to be the big story. Does Anthony Davis go home? Does he stay in LA?
Can you imagine having to go straight from winning a championship like that to free agency opening 5 days later in this weird season that we have? Typically, you have a little bit more time to decompress, talk with your agent, talk with your family. He's going to barely get to celebrate, barely get to have the. He might not even have the parade until a day or two before free agency opens. If he doesn't stay with the Lakers, that's going to have to hurt the Lakers fan base even more after seeing him just win like that and see him in the parade. However, is there even going to be a parade with
Yeah,
COVID?
that's what I was gonna say. You brought it up, and immediately I was like, I think Tampa Bay might have done a parade, the Lightning, but Florida's a
Florida's a
little
little different than
different.
Cali.
Florida's a little different. They have a few Florida men down there, so we'll see what happens in California and LA, but. Yeah, Anthony Davis is definitely the player to watch this offseason. He looked fantastic in the finals. And Higgins, here we go. It's 100% official. So we didn't even jump the gun. Look at us.
Gut instinct for you. Does AD stay with the Lakers? And if he doesn't, where do you think would be a potential landing spot for him?
I think it's really a two-horse race. I think it's the Lakers where my guess is he's going to stay. And he'll also take a meeting with his hometown Chicago Bulls. And he'll listen to the hometown pitch. I don't I don't judge anyone for going home. I just think he'll probably be a Laker.
It'll be a hard pitch for those Bulls to make, who are still in the process of trying to rebuild into a strong team, into a contender. So I agree. I think AD probably stays with the Lakers, but we've seen crazier decisions happening in NBA offseason, and with 2020 happening right now, I wouldn't put anything down in certainty until a contract is signed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we just talked about the Lakers getting their 17th NBA championship. That just went finalized. There's also some MLB going on Sunday night, Brett. The Houston Astros are playing the Tampa Bay Rays. It is the bottom of the sixth, and the Rays lead 2-1 right now. So obviously, even though game two of that game is going to be on Monday, we do not have a line for that game. But we do have a line for game one of the NLCS between the Braves and the Dodgers. What do you think about this series between two explosive batting lineups?
Well, I'm honestly really excited for game one because of the pitching matchup. Fried and Bueller are incredible young arms, both getting the start in game one. That's huge for these teams. Now, I think LA will have a big advantage in game two with Kershaw over Anderson, but Anderson's looked phenomenal in the playoffs. So, and people know Kershaw's history in the postseason. So we'll see what happens in that one as well. But yeah, I think this is a great series. I definitely think this is the two best teams in the National League. The Dodgers are the best, and the Braves are probably the second best. And if the Dodgers have the best player in Cody Bellinger, well, then the Braves are not too upset with their best player, Ronald Acuna, because if he's not as good as Bellinger, he's not too far behind.
Yes, Acuna Jr. is absolutely a menace of a player, a dangerous leadoff hitter. The amount of times that he's already gone yard to start off a game has been impressive. I think he's set records for that already as well. It'll be interesting to see Bueller versus Fried. I agree. Bueller, when he faced off against the Padres in his first outing of the playoffs, he went for 4 innings, allowed 1 run off 2 hits, had 8 strikeouts. Fried pitched against the Miami Marlins last Tuesday. He went 4 innings, allowed 4 runs, 6 hits, and a home run with 4 Ks. So
He got beat up
should
a
be
little bit.
should be interesting to see if he can rebound from that. But I think you and I look to be maybe a little bit on the same side here. Now I'm going to be taking the run line, Dodgers -1.5 at +135. I just think it's good value. I think the Dodgers should be the heavy favorites to win this series, and I wouldn't be surprised if the winning team on either side of these games could be multi-run games in most instances.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. I I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be the starters that give up the runs, if it's going to be the bullpens. We've seen the Braves bullpens look fantastic. The Dodgers bullpens looked a little shaky at times. They were mulling a closer change. I know Kenley Jansen was a little shaky, and Joe Kelly closed out a game in the last series. So we'll see what happens. But you gave out Max Fried's last start, and that's actually kind of how I picked my bet, Higgins.
Okay.
I took the Dodgers to score first at +100. They're the home team, so they will bat second. So obviously, if the Braves score top one, I will lose my bet. But I think the Dodgers can hold the Braves scoreless in the first inning, and we'll see how Fried reacts. Obviously, batting second, you get better odds. So I just took the +100. I took the odds on this one. I said, two good pitchers. Maybe Fried hangs a breaking ball in bottom of the first, or whatever. I just thought it was good value.
Now, to put that in perspective, another prop that you can bet on in baseball is the first 5 innings, and the over/under for the first 5 innings is 4 runs. So it looks like the sports books are saying that they think one of these starters is going to give up some runs within the first 5 innings. So I like the Dodgers bet. I'm worried about Acuna at leadoff, like I mentioned earlier, but I think that's the smart pick. I think the Dodgers are just that lineup's just a little bit too much to handle for most pitching rotations.
Well, in a true 50-50, to actually get 50-50 odds from the book, you just take that. You take that and run, Higgins.
Yes, you really do. We will see how that goes on Monday, and we might have another pick for the Astros Rays game on Monday once the Rays' probable pitcher decides to be announced, whenever that is. Probably on Monday, is my guess.
Yeah, it'll come Monday morning, probably right before their not right before their game, but as close to their game as they're allowed to go.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, let's do the Levy lock and the pick of the pod. And Brett, it's starting to seem like a trend because my last week's pick won again. So I get the honors once again, and we're
No,
going
we've
back to
been trading off. We've been trading off.
that.
Don't make it sound like you win them all. No, no, no.
I've won the past couple.
No, I won last week or last pod. I went first last pod. We did a little flipperoo.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm taking Saints -7 because, like I said, I think this is just going to have to be where the Hall of Fame career of Drew Brees matching up against a rookie in Justin Herbert, it's going to have to be a mismatch, and Drew Brees' offense is going to be able to outrush that Chargers offense. And hopefully, this Saints defense can get a few stops, and I think a touchdown is not too much to be giving up here at -7. Does leave me a little worried at that number, but I think -7's fine. I would not take it at -7.5 if you wake up on Monday and that's where it's at, though.
Yeah, I could definitely see that little hook being added to that one. I'm gonna keep it easy, Higgins. I'm hoping for one, maybe two big runs from Justin Herbert on Monday Night Football and going Herbert over 14 and a half rushing yards. Hopefully that pressure will come up the middle. He'll be able to get to the outside and get a little 20-yard scamper for me.
Well, then you're going to be hoping that Cameron Jordan's not going to be catching him in the backfield too much because those sacks will hurt your quarterback's rushing yards.
Yeah, they won't be great, but I'll be okay.
Okay. Well, there you go. Saints -7, Herbert 14.5. So you got both our Levy lock and the pick of the pod in the same game on Monday night. We gave out our picks. Sorry there weren't a lot of games, but we gave out what we could. We talked about prop bets with Beginners Boulevard. Each of us gave out two of those. One of those is your Levy lock, Brett. So we'll see how that
That's
goes.
what happens when you only take props on a Monday night.
And then, like I said, we'll have the Astros Rays information out on Monday. So follow us on social media. Maybe we'll have a pick depending on where those lines drop. At NBB Pod on Twitter, at Next Best Bet on Instagram, and the Next Best Bet Facebook page, where we will be giving you picks and content in between our episodes that drop every Monday and Thursday mornings. This has been episode 83 of the Next Best Bet. For Brett, I'm Jake. We'll talk to you guys again on Thursday.